Hello men, this is Chris with the Age of Reason, and today we're going to take a stroll through my local Walmart and let's see what all the hubbub is about. Now, I've already ran my main grocery shop, so you guys don't have to deal with all that. Some items in my cart, but let's go ahead and see what it's like here, where I'm at, and you compare it to how things are where you are. I was not expecting it to be the way that it is. I really wasn't, because I don't put any faith in this coronavirus thing. Okay? That said, the faith in humanity is sustained that people are going to believe it and they're going to run wild with it, panic. All right? And that's what this is. This is panic mode on the masses. The same thing it's ever been. You know, with everything. You know, if it was the 2012, was it year 2000, Y2K, 9/11, everything else. So we're gonna go ahead and have a walkthrough. And like I say, you guys compare it to your areas, all right? To how things are going where you are in your neck of the woods. So that said, I'm going to switch the camera and let's get started. So let's go ahead and start. We're over here at the pastries. I'm not going to break everything down, but we are going to, you know, have a look and see how it appears, because everything's about outward appearances. Of course, you got to peel back the layers to find out what's real, what's going on. And we still have bananas, produce, if that's your thing. People are going for it. People are taking the bait like they always do. It is not hard to confuse the masses. It is not hard at all, because they don't know what they believe in, and therefore they believe everything. It is not hard to confuse them, ever. Ever. Now there's tons of oranges on hand. Depending on what you learn with health and food, of course, oranges are supposed to be a large source of vitamin C. Vitamin C, of course, is supposed to be something to strengthen your immune system. So let's find out what people are buying out if they're not buying the oranges. Some vegetation. And keep in mind that Easter is coming. It's of course a significant religious event, and another eclipse will be taking place as well. And of course the eclipse is always a sign of something coming. All right, now of course I won't sit here and tell you it's a sign of any kind of God bringing anything down. I'm going to tell you it's going to be something coming from the media, from the flesh masters of this reality, in the devil's domain. This is our local coffee aisle. Of course, during any kind of panic attack, coffee, salt, flour, sugar, these are things that are easily exchanged between people and hoarded. Other side, we're going to have our breads. This is the sweets. Well, let's get on with the breads. Okay? All right, we're going to swing it over here. Tea, plenty of tea. Again, as well, a lot of people say, I'm not a proponent of this, but a lot of people say that tea has so many health benefits and health properties, but we are seeing a good stock of tea still. So I'm not the one who's going to tell you to go ahead and drink a bunch of tea if you're not feeling well. Pardon me. But you know, you may be in that thought. But it just shows you that a lot of people here are not in that thought. This is observe and report. Let's go check out the frozen meat stock. This is where we're going to find things like chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, quick instant fix foods. And I must reiterate, I was not expecting it to be like this. These people, the masses, are absolutely terrified and they don't know what to do. They are absolutely terrified, completely confused, and they have no idea what's going on. And when you don't know what's going on, what do? Well, you should always prepare, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is our meat case. We're coming over into the pork. The beef is pretty much picked over. There's a few great cuts of pork remaining. Evidently people are still afraid of pork during all of this as well. Pardon me, folks. And so here we have it, some turkey options from the horrible quality company Jenny-O. But this is a pretty hit too. Coming up to our chicken. A lot of chicken livers left. Of course, chicken livers are really good for you. Boom. Another thing that's very popular, if you shop Walmart, another thing that's very popular is the frozen turkey rolls that they have, because it's so affordable and it's a source of protein. Here's our frozen turkey stock. And right next door, we have some calf liver, which is a great food for you. So people, there's still some sourceable foods available. We have some duck, but we can see what people are going for. You know, they're going with what they know. And again, you can't blame people. You can't fault them because they're not taught how to think and how to observe reality from a critical standpoint. So here we have our frozen seafood aisle. Seafood aisle is still holding up pretty good, all things considered. Walmart in my area is not particularly known for having a very lovely seafood stock, but we can see there's still salmon. You know, salmon's great. Of course, that's an awful light color, farm raised, so there you go. Either way, how hungry are you? That's the question. How hungry are you, folks? Now, one of the big things that's flying around out there is the media panic about sanitary products like toilet paper, baby wipes, and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take you all up around the bend here and see if I can get us in there. Pardon me, good folks. So sorry.
If it's the
and here we have it.
cheap paper towel,
Now, I thought that this was going to be, I thought this was blown out of proportion. This is my local Walmart's toilet paper. I had previously thought this was completely blown out of proportion. But this is it. This is it. This is it. They are setting up something. All right. And now while we're on that, I want to talk about some more words. I like to analyze and think about words all the time. All right, so we got to think about this critically. Here's our paper goods, paper and plastic goods. Not too bad. But let's do some thinking, guys. Do we all remember The Stand? If you've never read the books, you've probably seen the TV miniseries, okay? The Stand is based on somewhat of an apocalyptic scenario with the rise of an antichrist who takes power through the political format, okay? Kind of like a ruthless dictator, you know, everything else. All right. There's the breakdown of that. Let's go a little bit further. Who drafted what is called The Stand? What was his name, everyone? What was his name? Somebody knows it. Stephen King. All right? Stephen King. The Stand. Now, anytime that you see these King names in the media, you can be guaranteed that they are 100% connected to something deeper. And this goes for characters such as I, Marlene King of the TV series Pretty Little Liars. And we're going to bring it back to Stephen King with his book, The Stand. Okay, so we have King. King wears what? A crown. What is Latin for crown? Corona. All right? You guys getting this? Latin for crown is corona. We have Stephen King, who kind of led on to this a long time ago. Of course, it would have been impossible to tell if this was just fiction or if it would ever be rolled out. Okay? And I'm going to say that is even still on the fence for me. But King, Corona, The Stand, okay? Keep it in your head. Find your ways to put it together, okay? Keep it in your head. All right? Now, moving a little bit forward, we do have a solar eclipse looming. And most people should know, but most people might not know, or they might forget things that they've been taught, because life in the day-to-day is nothing but hustle and bustle. During and after a solar eclipse, there are always events that take place, always. Whether they're on the radar or off the radar, there are always events that take place, okay? So this coming eclipse, I think, is June 21st, 2020? Or is it July 21st, 2020? I don't remember off the top of my head yet. But I want to take you back with this, okay? Okay, it's not regardless, but the dates are important, because they're going to, if you just do simple addition on the dates, they're going to add up to the number 67. Now, of course, you can reverse that, and it will become 76. And 76 is another one of these devil codes, okay? Another one of these devil numbers. Spirit of 76. 76 gas station. 76 is a big number for those who control things in this version of reality which we have been given. And I say version of reality that we have been given because it's very hard to discern anymore what is actually a true reality and what is a staged, scripted, and created event. So let's go ahead and have a look here at the water. Right behind you guys, pardon me. And of course, water is going to be one of the first things to go as well. And this is my local area. Shockingly enough, there's still plenty of soda on hand. And that was a nice surprise for me. A lot of the corn syrup and sugared products are still on the floor. in terms of drinking and beverages. This was also a very shocking thing to see here. Was it looks to be a completely stocked alcohol beer and liquor aisle. I don't partake in these poisons anymore, and I do not suggest that you do either, especially if anything really is going to happen. You got to stay as clear-minded as possible, and this stuff right here is going to keep you confused, lost, angry, and spiraling away. I thought that was somebody who I knew just now, but it was not. All right. Here's just an odd grocery end cap. And I'm going to tell you that this is the most dismal I've ever seen this, because it's not. A lot of this actually looks just like it's another day at Walmart, but we're seeing it more and more. All these aisles are picked over. Here's some frozen breads, frozen pies. King, Corona, the Stand, Eclipse, 6776. Keep all these things in your head. Let's go check out eggs. Eggs, of course, popular food. It's easy to source and it can sustain you. And look at our local egg supply. And I want to talk to you all because where I'm at, Walmart is probably the biggest retailer. We have, what do we have? We have 2 Krogers, we have 1 Meijer, and we have 1 Walmart, and an Aldi. And that's about it in terms of large grocery providers. We don't have a whole lot here. So it's very easy to have people siphon this stuff away, siphon away these provisions, these goods. Very easy because there are not a lot of options here. Milk. Pasteurized or not, you need your milk. And our milk supply is pretty picked over. And if you look in the back, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on back there either. I do see a little bit on display on a case back there that will be eventually loaded, but the way they've closed out trucking routes and everything else, it's going to be very easy for people to go into an extreme form of panic. Where I live, we do have 2 international bridges crossing into Ontario, and I think they are shut down. I passed them on the bus on my way here today, and the traffic was non-existent up on them. And any city in which you live is going to be touched by this. It doesn't matter how big or how small or how rural, it's going to be affected by this. You are close to an airport. You are close to shipping at all times, okay? And so all they have to do is they have to start tightening down the trade restrictions, because commerce is about trade. And that's what this is all about. It's always about money. No matter what happens, there's going to be some kind of money crisis, some kind of financial crisis. Always. Never, ever, ever doubt that for a moment that you exist in this flesh, earthen plane. This is the rest of the frozen and things like that. This area is not too picked over yet. We're going to get over to the berries and veggies over here. They're pretty picked over at this stage. But it's not the worst. I mean, there's still provisions that are available, but it's going to get worse. Like I say, when they start restricting trade, that's when you start to see these kinds of things happen. Because people who cannot get what they need to live, that's when people start panicking and people start freaking out. Right or wrong, it's just the way it is. Let's go ahead and have a look over at Baby. And it would be an unnerving time to be raising a little one right now, a baby, because this still has diapers available, but depending on your sizes, what are you going to have access to? You know, if you need newborns and stuff, you know, what are you going to have access to? We have some newborns up here, different sizes, you know. And what this should do is it should force people to start thinking differently about how they can take care of themselves just a bit more independently, especially if they have children. Baby wipes, I guess allegedly people are flushing baby wipes down the toilet now, which is always a bad idea. You want to clog up your lines, go ahead and do that. People aren't thinking. People are panicking over that stupid toilet paper run. You know what the solution to that is, right? I'll tell you if you have not thought of this yet. You just buy a couple extra rags and you leave them for a dedicated purpose. That's it. But do people think like that? Not traditionally. Not traditionally. The rest of the store is probably decent, but let's go head over to their hardware aisles and see what's been picked over there. Of course, people shouldn't be stocking up on silly things like electronics right now if there were anything really to worry about. But remember that the folly of man should never, ever leave you completely dumbfounded. So, plenty of TVs still after everyone's tax return. First thing they went and did was bought a giant window for their mind. That's every year. Some folding furnishings, slightly picked over. There's more over there, don't worry. Alright, so we're approaching their automotive and hardware and sporting goods area. This should be an area that would, I think, would be typically important to people if there was if they had anything between their ears. We're seeing quite a bit of hand tools and things still on hand, on stock. A lot of ladders. I don't know. What do you guys know? How does it look out there in your area? And once again, I'm going to remind you, King, Corona, Crown, the Stand, and the coming eclipse. I'm not some kind of a soothsayer or anything like that. I'm just going off of things that I know. that's in my head, because this stuff isn't too hard to figure out, is it? So this is the opposite side of the store, and it's pretty much a ghost town. We still have a lot of goods and provisions in here, a lot of things to buy, a lot of candles. I guess nobody's thinking that they're going to cut the power yet. Keep that in your brain. And I am not a fearmonger either. I do think that this whole thing is a media-controlled event. That said, they will do what they want in terms of affecting your life, your happiness, your privacy, your future, your family. And they'll make you think. They will make you think. You will have to think. And if you're not used to thinking, did you think that this would happen? Ever? Did you? Never mind all the ways they keep people at war amongst each other. Never mind the ways they keep people pitted against one another for no reason. You ever think? Does it look like Y2K back in the day? Wasn't too long ago, was it? No, it was not. So, I don't know, guys. Media or not, that doesn't mean that what you are seeing and experiencing is any less real. You can identify this as a media-created event, and that's fine. But it's still happening. It's still happening. In my neighborhood, your neighborhood, etc. It's still happening. How does that make you think? What do you think? Do you know how to think? Well, if you're here, you know a little bit about thinking. Like I say, I'm no grand master of thought, but I keep my mind going. I try not to get caught up in stuff that doesn't matter too much, because you'll see that if you do, you might not be prepared for what's coming up around the bend. And it's 6 o'clock right now, 6:12. This should be thriving business hours. Saturday, 6:12 in the evening. And it's not. And again, let's remember, Easter is coming. These religious holidays are always important for whatever they are going to unfold upon the sleeping masses. Quiet, ghosted. Just have another quick run through while I'm here. So how's it looking out there in your neck of the woods? There it is, folks. When the shit goes down, you won't even be able to wipe your ass. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I appreciate everyone who stopped in to watch, especially if you made the whole thing. Keep the thoughts in mind. King, Corona, Crown, the Stand, Eclipse. Okay? Keep these thoughts in mind. You have to. It's a strange thing that they've given us. It's happened before. It'll happen again. We'll come through it. But you gotta pay attention. This is Chris with the Age of Reason. I'll catch you all next time. Keep both eyes. That hurt my legs. Keep both eyes, all three eyes, opened at all times and pay attention. Remember, when the shit goes down, you won't even be able to wipe your ass.